Hey, what is up, YouTube? It's Rich. All right, welcome to Michael Golden's G.I. Joe Yearbook Artist Edition Portfolio Variant. So I wanted to point this out right in the beginning of the video because you guys need to hop on this if you want this. On eBay right now, these have been selling for $100. Finished auctions. There's two, and there's a guy in Europe selling it for even more than $100. His is a different cover than this, but the ones that sold were this cover. On IDW site, it's $40, and shipping is very, very cheap. There's 200 copies of this made. It says out of print here. It is not, though. It's still available on the site. So I just wanted to recommend this before we get into the video because I don't want anyone going to eBay and overpaying. All right, enjoy the video, and this is a good one. This is the Michael Golden G.I. Joe Yearbook, and it's the full yearbook, shot from the originals in the artist edition format, other than this is a portfolio and not a book, meaning these pages are loose, but they did something very unique with this project that I've never seen done, and I'm actually kind of slightly curious of how they did it. I'll probably ask Scott Doombeer because I do know him and I am friends with him, but they actually have it with the lettered boards and the unlettered boards, which is actually very, very cool. So each one of these is like a flip, but it's about the thickness of like comic book paper, and again, they're shot off the originals, so they're RGB scans, which is different than a black and white scan. I can kind of like give a quick education of the difference. So, like, I've worked in black and white. Travis Chare's X-Men Wildcats pages, for instance, were done in washes. The washes actually put out a hue. I don't know if you can notice it in here, but do you see like kind of a slight yellow or sort of sepia color here? So black and white original art actually does kind of give off a color vibe. And when you turn something grayscale, it does kind of flatten it a little bit. And so one of the unique features of these artist edition type books that in particular IDW does, there's other companies do it now, Graffiti Graphics, and McFarlane's got his own versions of it, and there's a few. But yeah, there's something really, really special about having those RGB colored scans off the black and white art. And, okay, I'm going to pause this for a second and grab these out, and we're going to start going through this. And hold on one moment. Okay, I'm back. And, you know, to be 100% honest with you, I have not looked through these at all. So this is going to be a first look with your buddy Rich. This is how nice I am. I waited 3 weeks to share the magic, the reaction of this. So this is cool. Michael Golden is so great. I want to say that I had bought some stuff that he had done. I think I had some Punisher covers that he had done before someone actually like physically said, like, or I guess verbally, they wouldn't physically say it. Like, you should check out Michael Golden's stuff. So, you know, I was buying comic books kind of on my own. I've met some people like along the way, but you know, when I first started collecting, it was a hobby that I kind of had just on my own. And so, you know what I mean? You kind of educate yourself. This is so cool. He's so good. I'm going to get kind of comfortable as I do this. So, yeah, he's great with guns. I mean, he definitely does his homework with that kind of stuff. I mean, I don't know weaponry that good, but I do know that his weapons look pretty damn nice. So, let me see if there's something on the back of this. Okay, so the cover doesn't have a back piece. Let me pause this for one more second. I need to have a place to set the pages as I flip through them. Okay. And what I'll do, and this isn't a sponsored link, but once I shoot this video, I'll go to IDW's site and I'll drop a link in the description box for people interested in ordering this directly from them. And again, it's I'm freelance. I don't work for anyone. There's like, people assume so much shit. And it's like, I've been freelance for years. I can work for whoever I want. And in fact, I'm working for Iron Maiden again. Like, a lot. I have a huge project coming up with them. But I'm working on Blaster Kid. It's like, don't assume. All right, so one of the greatest things about Michael Golden stuff is the black. Like he's so good with like framing things in black and like just doing like really, really these graphic like objects that he puts in his stuff. And man, The clarity of it, on top of the fact that he's able to go so detailed, is always very, very impressive. It's he's a great cartoonist, but he's also a great like draftsman, and draftsman not only in like the level of ability that he has to draw, but his literal like drafting skills. You know, it was funny because someone mentioned drafting in one of my videos a few weeks ago, and I had forgot that in junior high school I took drafting in like 7th grade, and ended up being in like an advanced class, and then I took it a few times, and it was great. And it was like, who knew how like important that would be? But one, it taught great lettering. Two, it teaches you how to draw in perspective, like to draw forms in perspective, and it's a pretty valuable thing that I had completely just written off as like, whatever. But yeah, it was cool. And I always really liked it. I had a real good teacher, so it was fun. There was people in the class that were probably way better than me. I wasn't like some outstanding student. I did better in high school, but I was just a dumb kid. I just wanted to play Dungeons and Dragons. That's all I was about, and listen to music. Oh man, it's so cool. So yeah, I don't know what year this came out. This is G.I. Joe Yearbook #2. I actually don't have. Oh, and I'll show you. I'm not going to go through every lettered board, but I did want to actually peep this. So we'll look at this one really quick. So somehow they must have removed all these off of the originals and then scanned it again. I'm just completely confused on that, because this stuff, I would never want to risk the original art trying to yank this stuff off. But let's see what they did. I'm kind of curious. Yeah, somehow they removed the glue. That's risky, and honestly, it could look worse. You know, having the lettering on the board versus removing it, having all these like weird yellow stains everywhere, could have been a catastrophic misstep. I mean, I guess you could always replace them onto the board, and maybe they had all fallen off, and so he was like, hey, I've got all the lettering. Like I said, the circumstances of how they approached it is actually a curiosity to me. Again, you can see those beautiful blacks he puts in, and the zipatone on it is really, really cool. His vehicles are so awesome. Incredibly time-consuming stuff. All these, I'm going to take a little piece of lead to disappoint her. All these little areas of black would take so long to fill in. I mean, depending on how you work. But yeah, this is very, very time-consuming type stuff when you start having all these little black shapes around your board. I mean, you're going to grab a small pen and spend, you could spend 90 minutes, 2 hours, 2.5 hours just filling in little black areas, depending on how detailed this stuff is. And I know in Clip Studio, you can drop in the blacks on your own. But I also know that at some point, if you want to have an original, someone's going to do it. You can sell posters. Posters don't sell for the same amount of money as original art, that's for sure. Original art, man, is so rock solid. Like, man, the bottom just has not fallen out on this stuff. It's absolutely insane what some comic art goes for. It's really, really incredible. But it's a great thing for artists. It's like, hang on to your best shit. Let some of it go. This is my recommendation for artists, honestly. Is you have to sell some of it. The reason that you have to sell some of it is you need to nurture art collecting group. Doesn't necessarily mean that every collector needs to have a piece, but you need to have some of it out there. There's artists that haven't. From what I understand, Walter Simonson has never sold any of his art. That doesn't necessarily mean that there's no Walter Simonson art that's never been sold, though, because if someone else inked him, the pages could be out there. But yeah, you want to kind of like, sort of fertilize that field. But, at the same time, you really want to be mindful of keeping key pieces, first appearances of characters, all that stuff. Because you could really, really regret it years down the road if you let something go that was important. Since you're not going to own the rights to a character if you've done it for a company. If it's a creator-owned thing, then, it's totally different. Bring on the first appearances. It's actually it is actually fun when I'm working on the Blaster Kid stuff. I always do think about that, like how fun it is that you're creating like all the characters yourself, and it's like, oh, I wonder if people will like this character, you know. And some I think probably take off. Like, this is nuts. This is so classic Michael Golden. And from what I heard recently, I think Scott said that they're doing a Micronauts Artist Edition, which will actually be really, really interesting. So that'll be a series. I mean, like a book that'll be a bound book. This is such a great page. Look at this. You can find a couple of like longer interviews with Michael Golden on YouTube now. I searched after we did some of the other videos. This is so awesome. Dude, the camo on his face with that Zipatone is so cool. See a little bit of the Zipatone right there too. But yeah, there was a couple of interviews with them, and there's actually a DVD that you can get that's like a 90-minute sort of Michael Golden tutorial thing. If you just search Michael Golden DVD, you can find a link to it. It's not very expensive. And that might be something appealing for if you're a big fan of Michael Golden to check out. Man, so good. So I don't know if he did this before or after the NAMM. It's very, very similar. It almost, based on what I'm seeing, it could have been done parallel. And if not, I would guess, I'd only be guessing, but I'm going to say, man, because this looks like G.I. Joe Yearbook. I'm going to say that this was right before NAMM. That's what my gut is telling me. It was way, way before I was collecting comics. But it doesn't matter when you start. It's how good you do it. That's actually true. It's like the saying of, it doesn't matter who did it first. It's who did it best. Just take that shit and own it. I just want to see the lettering on the boards versus the original. Yeah, it's so fascinating to me. It's like up here you can see where it came off. Oh, this is so good. So, as I mentioned in some of the other Michael Golden videos, one of the great things that he does is he does this like curvilinear sort of like warp to his perspective. So he'll have stuff in like 3-point perspective and 2-point perspective and probably 1-point perspective as well. And yeah, instead of having like straight lines to the vanishing points, he'll actually like curve it and then have the forms all kind of like wrap around it. But it gives it this very nice kind of organic quality, but it's like exciting too. It has a real stretch to it, and they talk about that in like the Disney books, like the stretch and squish of things, and its anatomy works that way too. I'm starting a series on Patreon today. Today I'm doing the intro, and in the next day or two we're going to go full on. But I'm doing a full on comic book illustration course for like pencilers. So it's like, I'm not sure how, it's not going to be formal. I'm not going to be grading people. I don't have time for that shit. You can do it on your own. I'm going to give you the material and you can kind of work through it, but, it's mostly drawing. It's not storytelling basis, but, yeah, like I'll see people sometimes practicing anatomy and they're just practicing the surface. They're practicing the shapes. It's good, but you have to understand the mechanics of it and the stretch and squish of muscles and how the muscle attaches to bone and how when it moves, it flexes and relaxes and stuff like that. Because if not, it's just, you can really, really see when someone's just kind of, it's a surface thing. The vibe is different. It just is. But I mean, I have to learn it too. So trust me, I'm not like, it's like it helps me to do it as well. So that's why cartooning is such a valuable, tool. No matter how realistic you want your art, if you're good at cartooning, it will definitely help your realistic drawing as well. Someone who wants to do photorealism, if you can doodle and do doodles that look like Michael Golden, you're going to be a really, really powerful illustrator. This is really cool. Man, his textures are so sick on that. and you can really feel the energy on this. Like sometimes when I shoot the video, I'll watch it back and I get things sort of reversed. But I'm trying to look at the board in front of me. It's like he's got this, like, it looks like a sweeping motion, kind of going this way, but then this looks like it's actually curving this way. He might have actually, it might actually like bow, like where it's kind of curving that way like a rainbow, and then I think down here it's actually starting to curve back around. But he's really really good with shapes, and this is nice too. But yeah, to try to collect a series of originals like this would be so expensive. I mean, it would pretty much be impossible for most people. And the fact that now we have access as artists to full size original black and white, well, RGB scans off the original art. I mean, it's honestly like I have to almost get myself up to look at like regular comic books versus this stuff. Like it just feels small, and I'm like, I want the color out of the way, and I love good color on comics, but you know what I mean? Like there's just something about seeing this stuff at this scale that's just really incredible. All right. Oh, this is so cool. Look at that. What a great panel. The price to me is the biggest limiting factor on these things, but I over 10 years have accumulated maybe one or two a year. I mean, I can't even afford to like buy them all, so I have to be real picky. But I have right now my office 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I have like 14 in here. I actually did sell a piece of art, and I got 5 of these in trade for it. So that actually ratcheted up my collection. But you know what I mean? Like my next one hopefully will be the Bernie Wrights and Frankenstein if they do that. There hasn't really been any announcements that I think that are must-haves for me. But you never know. I could be missing out on something that I haven't seen announced yet. I really want a Sean Gordon Murphy like Batman one, any of his Batman. So any of his books actually would be cool. I think his stuff just looks great in black and white, and so I'm really like I know that they will happen. His work just screams artist edition, so I'm looking forward to that. And I honestly would buy a couple of his. I think he's really really good. He does beautiful, beautiful textures and has just a varied approach to his stuff. I think Lee Bermejo would be another one that you could really just have some beautiful black and white work with his stuff. There is an Italian book that just collected his stuff. I haven't had an opportunity to see it, so I don't know the size of it, but there'll be more. Okay, so we're almost at the end of this. Oh, so cool. I might have this comic. I had bought a collection off of someone a year or two ago, and they had a whole bunch of G.I. Joe comics in the collection. So I came across part of it the other day, and I was like, oh man, I wonder if I've got the golden book in it. So we'll see. And I always say this too, please, like if you have any recommendations for comics that you would like me to go through, just let me know. Put it in the comment section below. I take them real seriously, honestly. Like when people recommend stuff, I mean, if you followed my channel for a little while, sometimes I get them up real fast. If it's something that I hadn't thought of and it's like exciting to me, like, I mean, and I have it in particular. I have a pretty huge collection of stuff. And a lot of it I haven't seen or haven't looked at in a long time. So yeah, never hold back. I know Jordy Benet, the one guy, I think it's one person, once Jordy Benet. He's tough because a lot of it is adult content, and it's like it goes way past like sort of like some of it's pretty like X-rated. So I'll have to be selective with Benet. And I kind of Googled and I was looking at some other stuff. I could definitely put together a Jordy Benet video. But yeah, any recommendations is always good to go. It's interesting. So I've been watching a lot of stuff on war museums. And I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen Dragon Man's channel. He's a guy out of Colorado. He's like a guns dealer, but he has a huge war memorial museum that he's put together. It is ridiculous. It's so freaking big. Then I was watching some videos of it's a World War II museum in New Orleans. It's interesting stuff. I'm a huge fan of gear and like I've mentioned before, my family is pretty much all military, so it's like I've been around that stuff my whole life. But it's really, really interesting to see the different collections of stuff and just different iterations of costumes and all that stuff. It's, crazy. So, all right, that is the last page of this. So it's 22 pages, but you get 44 with the lettering. And I mean, the lettering really isn't like a huge selling point on the portfolio itself, but I think this is really good. And you're basically getting these for about $1 a page. And this is what I tell people. I say, if you can get an artist edition and improve 1 or 2 pieces of your art because you got it, you will make your money back, because you're going to do a pinup of your favorite character or a creator-owned character, and you're going to use something that you learned from it, and you're going to sell that piece for $100 or $200, and you just paid for the artist edition. So if you see one of these that inspires you or you think you could learn from, treat yourself to one. Try one out and see what you think. I really believe that they're great study tools, and it's like you don't have to get an IDW one. You can get the McFarlane ones or the I guess the Michael Turner one is DC. I have the Hellboy ones. Wally Wood. I have I got the Eisner ones. They're pretty interesting. So, all right, have a great day. Patrons, tonight I'm going to shoot Super Fun Sunday. It'll be cool. It's going to be another Friday night one because I've got a busy weekend drawing Blaster Kid. So I'm going to knock that out. And then today you're actually going to get the intro and setup video for that drawing series. So, all right, have a great day. I love you all. And tomorrow I'm going to do another Batman Black and White story. So recommendations in the comment section. I will take them all very, very seriously, and we'll do something killer. I've got a pretty good idea for Super Fun Sunday. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye.